Today is a day for builders. Today America is delivering.
Another bipartisan achievement in Washington signed into law today. The CHIPS Act is being hailed as a once-in-a-lifetime investment for our country. And it's being celebrated as a path forward, especially here in Ohio. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm DALAUN, Dillard.
And I'm Courtney Gooseman. You may recall Intel postponed the ceremonial groundbreaking of a new manufacturing facility in our state until the CHIPS Act became law. News 5's Mike Brookbank is here with a look at the new law and what happens next here in Ohio. Mike?
Courtney and DALAUN, the CHIPS Act is going to invest some $200 billion over the next 5 years to help bring manufacturing back to America, specifically the manufacturing of semiconductor chips. And Ohio is about to become the centerpiece of that effort.
With the stroke of a pen, a new law in America.
We believe every and anything is possible. It's part of the soul of this country.
The $280 billion CHIPS Act is aimed at boosting domestic high-tech manufacturing. The president wants to help speed up the supply chain by reducing our nation's reliance on overseas manufacturing for the critical chips that can be found in everything from washing machines to cell phones. And soon, Ohio will be the epicenter of that industry.
When Intel gets started with this, it's the beginning of bringing a brand new industry to the state. It's going to create tens of thousands of jobs, a new generation of prosperity.
After the company delayed its July ceremonial groundbreaking of a semiconductor production facility near Columbus, Lieutenant Governor John Husted says with today's signing, the Intel project is full steam ahead. Senator Sherrod Brown celebrating the shift in a statement saying, the president's signature puts another nail in the coffin of the term Rust Belt. Last week, he told News 5 the impact will be so much broader than Columbus.
Because it's so massive and it has such a supply chain feeding in to this production in Central Ohio.
And Cleveland is ready for the opportunity to get involved.
I want to make sure that Cleveland and Northeast Ohio gets its fair share of resources.
Mayor Justin Bibb attended the signing in Washington today, and he says his team has already had conversations with Intel leadership about positioning Cleveland as an emerging hub for the company's research and development.
We want to make sure that we tout our great assets, everything from Case Western Reserve University to the fact that we have Lake Erie, and that access to good fresh water is a key part of making sure that the semiconductor industry can thrive long term.
The mayor says he also envisions a workforce funnel here in Cleveland, starting in our schools.
I want to make sure that we get all the right people around the table, from Case Western to Tri-C to our Workforce Investment Board, to figure out how do we invest in STEM education to ensure that our young people have access to this opportunity in the future.
That Intel project is expected to create 10,000 jobs in our state. That includes 7,000 construction jobs. Intel says the average wage for its workers at the plant will be $135,000 a year. In the newsroom tonight, Mike Brookbank, News 5.
All righty, Mike, thank you so much. And boosting chip manufacturing in the U.S. won't be cheap. Critics of the CHIPS Act said the government was giving out handouts to wealthy corporations. Now, the bill does include more than $50 billion in incentives for chip manufacturers to build plants domestically. Now, on top of that, Intel is also getting incentives from our state to build in Ohio. The state is offering $1.3 billion in incentives to Intel. That includes $600 million in onshore and manufacturing cash incentives. That's $300 million for each of the 2 plants Intel will build. Plus, our state offered another $691 million in investment in the Columbus area where construction is planned. And as Mike mentioned, in exchange for all of those incentives, Intel is offering to create 10,000 jobs plus tens of thousands of support jobs. The new Intel facility expected to be online in 2025.